My name is Nicole Witten, and I'm going to present to you on the RTI Staff Development Plan for Manteno CUSD number 5. The overview of the RTI process. It integrates assessment and interventions in a 3-tiered system. It maximizes the student achievement and reduces behavior problems. It identifies students at risk for poor learning outcomes. It monitors student progress, provides evidence-based interventions, and adjusts the intensity and the nature of the interventions depending on the student's responsiveness and learning disabilities. It also provides high-quality instruction. There are some components of the RTI process. There's universal screening, progress monitoring, tiered delivery, database decision-making, parent involvement, fidelity of implementation, and the professional development. The universal screening process allows students to be screened 3 times during the school year using a program called FastBridge. The goal of this program is to identify the students who need instructional and behavioral support through interventions. The screening results show the students that are not meeting the standards who will need interventions and differentiated instruction within the classroom. The following form allows teachers to record interventions that are being used by the teacher in the classroom or outside of the classroom. These interventions that are documented allow teachers to look at them during team meetings at the end of each month to determine if there's any students that need to be put into a certain response for intervention course. When using the FastBridge program, there are certain benchmarks that are used. High-risk students are classified as Tier 3 students and need more intense support. Some risk are classified as the Tier 2 students and are likely to catch up with the additional supports that they're being provided. And there is low risk in college pathway students who are likely to be successful, who are on track with their current learning process. FastBridge also has norms. These norms are rankings and allow them to be compared to a group that is nationally and locally organized. The red, who are your Tier 3 students, are in the 20th percentile and below. Yellow are your Tier 2 students, and they're in the 21st to 30th percentile. And your green and blue students are those that are just in normal coursework and are not receiving any interventions. When you look at the reading test, a score range of 350 to 650 is where a student would like to score. The test focuses on certain foundations, language, reading fiction, and informational text. The math test, you want a score range of 150 to 250, and there are lots of different domains that are focused on that you can see currently in the chart, from counting to algebraic thinking to expressions and equations and statistics and probability. When understanding the score for a student for reading and math, the score sheets are very adaptive and are scaled. If you look at the example provided, the students on the screen show whether or not they are in the above percentile, where they do not need any interventions, or if they're in Tier 2 or Tier 3, according to those skills that they were tested on. It also lets you know if they're high risk, low risk, or if they're on the path for a college education. There are also individual skill reports that can be shown. It lets you know whether the student had mastered a concept, is developing to master the concept, or if their future is on path. It used the same norms for percentile rankings that are in the individual student report, and it also gives specific skills that they need to work on and specific skills that they have mastered. There are also benchmark reports. These are one-page summaries of the students' scores, and they're on a fast screening assessment program. These benchmark reports show the levels and the percentile ranks for their score, and it compares all of the students to each other on the report. When we focus on Tier 2 students, these are your students who need supplemental instruction. This instruction takes place during an advisory time in small groups of 5 to 8 students. These students will receive Tier 1 instruction in the normal classroom also. While in small group instruction, they will focus on academics or behavior weaknesses that are being targeted at that time. They will also be progress monitored by taking a FastBridge assessment every other week to determine the progress of the interventions that are being used and determine if any new interventions need to be added. Your Tier 3 students are the ones who need the very intensive instruction. This will take place during what is called a related arts period that is approximately 35 minutes long. During this time, students will receive core academic or behavioral instruction in the classroom, and they will also receive differentiation on an everyday basis in the normal classroom. Tier 3 students are worked with individually, and they are progress monitored every week to make sure that the interventions that are being used are actually working. Parent involvement is very important in the process of RTI. Parents will be notified 3 times a year that their students are being tested using FastBridge. The FastBridge data sheets will be sent home showing the students' results and how they relate to the norms. Parents will be notified by letter if their child will receive Tier 2 or 3 interventions. They will also receive progress sheets regularly once the child begins the RTI program. Parent involvement is very important in this process so that parents know what it is that their child needs help with at home so that they can also continue to give them support at home. There are some talking points for parents. When working with the math and reading assessment, they need to understand that it is a computer test and that there are 30 items on each test. They also have to understand the risk levels for their child so that they can see and understand the sheet that is sent home. They also need to know the norm colors. It's important to explain what instruction or interventions is taking place that the student needs. They should also consider the sources of information that the student's skills will be using so that the parents can as well use it at home. And there is no one assessment or score that should be used in isolation when planning instruction or summarizing the student performance. They need to make sure that they are using a variety of interventions that are being looked at. You also need to make sure that the FastBridge program shows fidelity. The district needs to remain faithful with FastBridge. Since the program is new, it's going to also take a couple years so that they have valid proof before to be able to show the program is working. And it's very important to have staff and community buy-in to the program. Without this buy-in, the program cannot be successful, and the community will not want to help with improving the scores of their students. Teachers will also be in need of professional development because this will be essential to continue the RTI model. All staff will need to build a sound understanding of the philosophy and the execution of the RTI process. FastBridge training will be needed for the teachers to understand how the program works and how to read the data and the program updates. And the school district also needs to be firm with the expectations of the RTI process. This wraps up the professional development plan for Manteno CUSD number 5.